I'm going to use Charticulator to produce Figure 2L from our paper, which depicts the yearly market share trends of mobile operating systems from 2009 to 2016. This dataset contains 64 rows and 3 columns: the year, the operating system, and the market share. In the completed chart, the values for each year are shown as a stacked column, ordered by the market share values. Each operating system is connected by a band, and the crossing of the bands shows a change in the ranking. Now that I've loaded the dataset into Charticulator, I begin by adding a rectangle mark to a glyph by dragging it from the toolbar into the glyph editor. To indicate the operating system, I then drag the operating system data column to the fill attribute of the rectangle. I then map share to the height of the rectangle by dragging this data column to its height drop zone. Next, I drag the year data column to the x-axis in the chart canvas to group the glyphs by year. To stack them vertically, I toggle the Stack Y sub-layout option for this plot segment. And to order them by their market share values, I select the share column among the order options for this plot segment. I then adjust the gaps between the stacked glyphs and between the years by dragging horizontal and vertical gap handles. To create the bands between the glyphs, I invoke the link options and select a band link style. Group by operating system and click Create Links. To add the text labels, I first add a text mark to the glyph by dragging it into the text editor, and then I move the text anchor to the middle left of the rectangle, and move the text to the left side of the anchor. I then drag the operating system to the color attribute of the text to make it consistent with the rectangle fill color. I also drag the text drop zone so that it's clear which operating system the glyph refers to. I only want to show labels for the first year, being 2009, so I toggle the condition by options for the text mark's visibility attribute. From this menu, I select the year column, clear the default selection, and select 2009 only. Finally, I adjust the left margin of the chart by dragging the guide, and I give the chart a better title. In this scenario, I will recreate Florence Nightingale's famous rose chart. This historical data includes the monthly death toll and causes of death by disease, wounds, and other causes among the Army of the East during the Crimean War in 1855. In the completed chart, each wedge of the circle corresponds to a month, with the 3 causes of death stacked radially and the area of each being proportional to the number of deaths. I start by dragging a rectangle mark into the glyph editor. I drag the death column to its height attribute and the type column to its fill attribute. To convert the Cartesian coordinates to polar coordinates, I drag the circle scaffold from the toolbar into the chart canvas. This converts the chart into a circular layout of rectangles tangential to the circle. I then drag the month to the angular axis. Selecting the plot segment, I toggle a radial stacking sub-layout, and I reduce the inner radius of the plot segment by dragging the inner circle to the center until I reach a radius of 0. And reduce the gap to 0%. The number of deaths is currently mapped to the radial height, so I need to map the data to the area, so I check the height to area checkbox. The original chart has no angular separation between the wedges, so I set the angular gap to 0%, but I give each a white stroke in the rectangle's attributes panel. Next, I select the rectangle mark to assign a custom palette of colors to each death. Finally, I adjust the chart margins, snap the legend to the left guide, and edit the chart title. Since this is a chart layout that I want to reuse, I will export it as a Microsoft Power BI custom visual by opening the File panel, toggling the Export tab, and selecting Power BI Custom Visual. I replace the data column names with more generic dataset slot names. Month is replaced by angular axis, type is replaced by category, and death is replaced by area. I name this template Rose Chart and click the Export button. Finally, I import the resulting PBI viz file in Power BI, and I use it to visualize other data. In this case, data about the customers for different products across several months.